Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
Swearing in, approving the Vice President and the Prime Minister, and then passing that rushed loan for the solar irrigation.
Questionable.
I said rushed.
Okay.
Questionable is yours.
Okay.
The Speaker adjourned Parliament to 30th at that time, which was the day before yesterday, I think. And I decided to go back to Mulanda to try and tie the loose ends of my other private things. I also decided to go to Kapelebyong to tie the loose ends there because I do agriculture, I do farming.
You're already enjoying your money.
I worked for government. I retired. I'm a pensioner. So I have some, but I had also done a little investment to keep me as I age gracefully. The Parliament now is additional. Is to smear something on myself and
wow.
So it was necessary for me to, because I knew that once we get into Parliament, we shall immediately launch into the budget cycle and things like that, and I will not have time. I'm not the type to dodge official work, so I thought I needed to fix that, put in a bit of systems, and I can monitor. I can stay away for a month and so on.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Today's events.
First of all, today's events we have been seeing this coming from as way back as 2023, I think mid, when private people began exposing, they call it Agora exhibition, the alleged abuse of resources, particularly of Parliament. At that time, the official government entities that are supposed to follow up public resources didn't. They did not comment, particularly the Auditor General. And when you remember on this show, when we asked the leadership of Parliament, they were very angry. They actually rebutted. They said they are a Parliament and therefore they are not going to respond to things that are flying in the media. And remember again on this show, I said no. You, the leadership of Parliament, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Clerk to Parliament, who is the accounting officer, you're in a public office, and in a democracy, the media is one avenue through which we hold you to account. Don't just brush away. Answer those questions. To date, I'm not aware that the expired Parliament of the 11th Parliament had a formal discussion. They didn't. They ignored. And on this same show at that time, I said, to the best of my recollection in the last 20 years or so, we have not had a meaningful public debate on the floor of Parliament on the Auditor General's report, audit report on Parliament. I don't know if there's ever been. We have never had a formal, official debate of the Auditor General's report on the audit on Parliament. Second came, was there for 10 years. Right Admiral Kadaga came, 10 years. We have had this one 10 years. We have never had. For some reason, members of Parliament have been timid. And as you know, the real budget of Parliament, particularly since the Parliamentary Commission was formed, nobody appears to know in full the amount of money, including, I dare say, the actual amount of money that individual members of Parliament take as their total emolument. It has been held in a cagey way.
Did you find the amounts that were mentioned in court quite astonishing?
Yes, what we know is the total sum, because that one is in the budget. But it had never occurred that individual offices had those colossal sums of money. Now, and also that there is free willing in the way money is handled. As a former parliamentary reporter, you know, I was a parliamentary reporter for a long time, over a decade. I was an operative, as you know.
You used to report about us, I remember.
Yes, I have been a government, so we knew.
An operative and a reporter?
Yes, yeah. that happens.
He was an operative reporter.
That happens. So,
Well, okay.
we were hearing, and some, through loose talk, some members of parliament, of course, would say, for example, you are paid money for official work, maybe to go to the field in Arua, you don't go. But you earn. You come and sign the book, the attendance book, but you walk out of parliament. You know, we all know the perennial problem of lack of quorum in parliament by backbenchers, by ministers. We have had cases where we have, as I said, from the government, where people travel, somebody takes money for 10 days that is going to Europe or South Africa, and flies through a table, comes through Malaba. In those cases, if we were very serious, and you called members of parliament and say, table your travel documents, you would find some of those cases.
You want to suggest that this is just a mere tip of the iceberg?
No, I may not be just a tip, but I'm saying indicators, red flags, that there have been abuse in parliament for a long time.
Yeah, but the big question,
Yes.
it actually brings in that phenomenon of big fish, small fish. You go for Obore.
I don't agree. Let us go back to 2010. 2010, when we had the scandal in the OPM, Office of the Prime Minister. And then where the then permanent secretary was sent on, I think, forced leave. The one that followed, Guatude, you remember, Christine? Over refugee things, and Kazinda, and others. Then we went for another big one, public service, pension, where the PS, the accountant, I think there were like 5 or 7, one even died in prison. You remember Christopher Obey? Up to date, my brother Kazinda is still, since 2010, he's still serving sentence.
Yeah, but the Obores appear to have been conveyors.
No. I don't have the brief from the investigators if they were just conveyors or they
are not accounting officers.
No. So, but I know what you're insinuating, because Parliament has a financial accounting administrative system headed by the clerk to Parliament. Ordinarily, we would expect that it is the clerk, and to the best of my knowledge in this particular case, it's the clerk, the Honorable Adolf Musigi, who is the accounting officer. Because in some ministries, there are permanent secretaries who are not accounting officers. Sometimes they give the undersecretary, sometimes they give another person. So, in this particular case, is the Honorable Adolf Musigi, who has been the clerk for the last 5 years or so of Parliament. So, ordinarily, from a layman's point of view, you would expect that he's the one who was sanctioning. He, together with the chief accountant of Parliament and that group, because there is no way the Obores can lay their fingers onto money except if it has been approved properly by the accounting system. Two, in government, if I get money to go to Arua, the expectation is that when I come back, I account before I am given money to go to Mbarara. Now, when you look at on the surface, how is it possible that money is released today, tomorrow, the other day, or that somebody withdraws that colossal sum of money, 300 million, 400 million at midday, and in the afternoon again they go and pay? Is it possible, unless but even if you are constructing Munyonyo, you don't pay your suppliers in cash. Most likely you'll be paying them through the banking system. So I think the Boris, their current circumstances is more than meets the eye. Yesterday, I actually had a long discussion with the Bore, Chris Obore. We were both at the induction, and he beckoned me, and I walked to him, and he narrated to me the ordeal he has been going through, and he posed to me a question whether he is safe and what can he do. And I said, what can he do? And I said, no, since you're still working, just continue working normally. Unless you intend to run away from the country, just stay.
So
chill.
he more or less had a premonition of what will be
just chill. If they come for you, surrender yourself, you go to court, and you give the testimony to the best of your recollection of events. And so he tried to bring in politics, and I said, no, at this point it doesn't help you. Because he told me, he said they are getting money to fund certain political activities for which the recipients, some of the recipients of the money were not required to put their signature because they were doing legitimate assignment. So I wasn't surprised, therefore, when I was in Munyonyo again today, he didn't turn up in the morning, because the speaker had asked both of us to put our heads together here. He said, the people who have media background and in parliament, either as staff or as MPs, should sit together and give him the best way forward of how to handle the fallout from all this, so that the new parliament starts from a little bit clean slate.
Thank you. I'll definitely get back to you. Honorable Mwiru, do you want to look at this as a purge, a cleanup, or a serious crack on corruption?
Well, I think as Honorable O said, that there is more than what meets the eye. I don't believe in a haphazard type of engagement. For instance, what we have been experiencing is budget corruption. Because before, Parliament had the power to pronounce itself on the budget and even to suggest allocations until a time when they said that the three heads of the arms of government sit and share a budget and say, for you, we are giving you this, but don't touch my budget. That when we started from that perspective, meaning that created a leverage for this corporate social responsibility, which is the cause of the problem. Because the law as is elaborate on how they account for money. For instance, you have gone and arrested people, like in this case. But remember, there's no audit, either forensic or financial, as yet received, raising the some of this. You realize that some actually, the expenditures, the way they are, they might be because it is budget corruption, the budget for nugatory expenditures, and that end up that, for instance, the Treasury accounting instructions require accounting officers to recover money from officers who have not accounted within 30 days. Because the Public Finance Management Act says when you receive public money, you must account within 30 days. Because there would be questions. Do we have an internal audit function in Parliament? And if yes, the quarterly reports they have been raising as red flags over these issues, where are they? if we are told we are moving in that direction. Then, because apparently what we are grappling with is that this man had been voted by Parliament. And it's like it didn't have clear guidelines on how it is spent. Because I've had one of the former presiding officer, for me, I built a church. And says he has accountability. So for you to speak about it, they say, man, you are ungodly. You're even criticizing God, you're asking for accountability. At the end of the day. So to me, and actually don't get shocked when none of those people is convicted. Because there's at a point, there's a BB was an accounting officer Malago. The State House Anti-Corruption Unit went there and just got all the documents and then he went away with everything. They took him to court. Then they realized that actually they needed a professional person to do an audit and point out where the problem is. For instance, like Obore must have budgeted. And this budgeting of these days, we are budgeting starting from the top, where they say we have 24 billion, budget for it. We will come and scribble something and then put in the budget. Then when it comes to expenditure, people keep on raising requisitions because the money must get out of the system. And it's initiated by the user entity. It goes through the system and people approve. So when you get the money, where do you take it? Because you have received the money, it has no guidelines. It is about donations.
Yeah, but I want you to look at this as an IGG sanctioned arrest. It's an operation that came from the office of the IGG.
No, actually.
You give it to the office of the IGG.
No. There is a letter, a directive by the president to charge those officers. So even you may even wonder that even the IGG may not be acting independently because the question would have been, let's do an audit to establish, because the audit systems, they don't audit individuals. They audit systems.
Yeah, but the inspectorate has owned the operation.
No. You see, actually, the audit systems, they don't actually audit individuals. Because this would be that would have arrested the recipient of the money. Because now we only are moving at a level of receiving money and money ending somewhere. Because if it is public money, for instance, actually, when you receive public money, even if in your account, it becomes a public account. That's why you have a requirement to account. You know where I'm coming from. So now, even that money as is, because we have money which was passed in this budget we have just passed. Still, even before it is used, they must develop guidelines. Because if they're not going to develop it, the speaker now, I think, both has 24 billion. I think Honorable also has the same.
No.
28 and 24.
Honorable both has, is on record. Yeah. He said when he came, he returned 23.9 and retained in his office as part of that 3.9. Now you could say, on what basis did he choose
to return?
Now, if banner can easily be moved like that, I come today and tomorrow I say no.
It wasn't actually moved. Yeah. Actually, the law.
He said he has moved it.
No, it doesn't have the power. Actually, it doesn't have the power. If you are doing environment, it's up 10%. You understand? There's no you take back money which was voted by Parliament. You remember when the president wanted to support the way in the north, and you are going to cut from other ministries, they have to come back to seek parliamentary approval. Parliament passed Money and Appropriation Act. The money is in the commission.
Are you suggesting that the Right Honourable Speaker both has either was economic with the truth, not a lie, perhaps, or he made instructions that he is not aware of the implication in law?
No, actually, for him, he was acting in like any person who has assumed, who has assumed an office. You understand? Because both of us is well grounded in law, and he knows that unless you mischarge, when you say money will go to the committees, unless the office is going to mischarge, and then they say that it was for good reason that you are mischarging to do committee work. But the law, the PSST can only grant you permission to via within 10% of the budget. You cannot do
Well,
beyond that. So for me, the point I'm making, that you see, just take us back to for instance, I heard about the classified expenditure. You heard about those allegations. That when the MPs wanted to increase their money and engage the president, said that, no, I don't want the public will shout. Put everybody 100 million per month, per year, you'll be just getting it from me. Casually, just like that. So the classified expenditure was also increased. Some got, some did not get. Even when you met them, you have met them. They say, for me, I didn't get. The other not. See, it's like you are the mass of someone who was actually getting. So we need to get back to the budget and say, is there budget corruption? Do we have money which we are put in areas which we don't actually need it?
Thank you.
If we don't do that, there will be a very big
thank you
problem.
very much. Honorable Wakida,
Yes.
there was uproar in 2023 from the public. Agora led the campaign. They exposed Parliament. And Parliament came out, guns blazing, and said they are clean. Do we say that the activists today are vindicated? And what does this swoop today suggest or reveal?
Thank you, Moses. And good evening, everybody. The image of Parliament, which I joined 1 month ago, is very bad. The public perception of the members of Parliament is such that it's a bunch of thieves. It's a scene of crime for the last 1 month. That as we enter Parliament, we are crossing around red lines. It's very unfortunate. When I was joining Parliament, the decision which I took, I think it was on a Sunday, announced to my friends, group of friends, they told me, you don't deserve to go to that Parliament. It's very dirty. And one of my family members, a few days ago, told me, you went in Parliament at a very wrong time. Let me start from that point. The mistakes you're seeing in Parliament are actually creation of a system in Parliament. The money that you're seeing that people are being arrested of is money approved by the very Parliament without a direction of use. Money is tempting. If you are going to appropriate 20 or 18 billion shillings, you must define its use. As we speak now, we are only hearing that the money was meant for CSR. Who defines the kind of activity that CSR should be? It's the Speaker or the leaders of Parliament. When I entered the Parliament the first day, I went on familiarizing myself around the different offices. Let me tell you, in Parliament, there is what they call the Accountability Office. There is the Clerk's Office. There is the Audit Office. There is a Refund Office. All of these offices are there. My colleague can tell you this. In a space of 1 month, I have learned that sums of money were misused for a period of time. You have a full
in the new Parliament? Or?
No, in the old Parliament. The full commission could not guide. The reason why in an organization you have politicians and you have technical people is such that technical people are the custodian of law of that organization. I would have expected the technical people in Parliament to be playing their role. The clerk, who is the accounting officer, the director of finance, the internal audit functions, and all of these people to be able to guide the politician. Now, when you leave the politician to do what they want, in an institution where you are employed to guide, you are held accountable. That's a fact. And we look forward to a new commission. I would expect a new commission to define all of these things. I heard you say the other one had 20, another one had 18 billion shillings. To do what? Define that function. So that when it comes to accountability, we know where the money is supposed to go. Now, for some of us, we've been in the private sector. I've been in the private sector. I do account for my own money. I keep it growing. I know the pain of looking for money. I was surprised when I saw a list of people who have taken the money and how much they have taken. Whether it's true or not, we have a lot of work as the new parliament. As we enter into that parliament, the ghost of bad governance within the parliament is hovering on our head. And that's dangerous. We have...
So is this the ghost that government is trying to exercise, or there is more than meets the eye?
Well, I am not good at speculating, and you have known me for that. I don't have facts. I don't have fact that effect that probably they are doing the right thing. I would imagine that they are doing the right thing. I would imagine. And I don't want therefore to sit here and say they are doing this because of this. Let me tell you, that parliament has questions. We are sitting on each other in parliament. You have 529 members of parliament sitting in a space of 80 people. But do you know, contracts for reconstruction of parliament was done many years ago. Extension after extension. The reason why you are seeing Ofono Opondo will not come tomorrow to parliament is not because he doesn't want to come. But a delay of arrival by 10 minutes would only presuppose that you are going to stand or to squat in the corridors. How can that be parliament which is entrusted to discuss very important issues that affect the country? All that, those things must be investigated.
Thank you. Honorable Dongoto, at least I would give it to you that on several occasions you've come out to raise red flags on the road in that house. Is there a cause for excitement now that the top brass in Parliament have been netted? And could this be the small fish or big fish?
Yeah, I happen to be the only non-MP in this panel. The institutional...
But you also happen to be the longest serving.
Yes,
you did
the
20,
institutional
you did 20 years. Yes.
memory I have in Parliament for 20 years. I don't see any of you making that 20 years. Maybe Mwiru Paul. Others will be 1-2 terms and you will go wherever you came from. But
what a profession.
Outside there, today, I drove 500 kilometers to come to this show. People are very happy on the arrest of today. I am personally very happy that 7 individuals can steal money equivalent to the budget of a district. 7 people like this. People are struggling in Kibuku, in Mbarara, in Jinja. There are now so many districts. The whole district, education, health, production, they give 33 billion. But here are few individuals who are playing with taxpayers' money. So today, this is a big day in Uganda's history. It's a very big thumbs up for the IGG. It's a very big thumbs up for the judiciary. These are the kind of people to be remanded. Not just someone who is talking, singing a song, then you take them to the basement. These are the kind of people who should be taken to prison for haste, for theft, for corruption. So this is a very big day, and Ugandans out there, where I came from today, are happy. But the bigger question is, why now? President Museveni has been there for 40 years. Why now? Why 2026?
Does it have political undertones?
That is now where I come in. You see, there is what we call passive revolution. One of the great scholars, Antonio Gramsci, he spent so many years in prison in Italy, was opposing Mussolini, and he wrote about 30 books and about 3,000 articles. And he brought this concept of passive revolution. So to answer this question, why now? For me, as a political philosopher, I see an additional hand helping President Museveni. I see the hand of Muhoozi Kainerugaba in this. You remember the other time when they picked vehicles from the speaker's residence, that they should take them to Naguru. But they had to pass through the city square. It was like a parade with all those vehicles in car carriers. So the concept of passive revolution shows that a force emerges from within and entrenches the existing force for the better or for the worse. It has happened in the Iranian Revolution. It has happened in Senegal and in several countries. So we see an urge to fight corruption, because President Museveni is a leader who is, the word magnanimous is a little, is not appropriate. He would forgive a corrupt person if he can wear a yellow shirt. People steal money and they run and put on yellow. They even stuck some of the money in the pockets. As long as you're putting on Museveni's shirt, it's very unlikely that you can be prosecuted for corruption. But we are seeing a passive revolution where the CDF, in the name of General Muhoozi, is saying, well, it's not enough to put on yellow. We are going to arrest you. Actually, I am privy to information.
Yeah, but is he getting the right targets in this case?
Actually,
these are not the accounting officers.
For me, it is immaterial. As long as you have stolen public funds, they should use any means possible to take you to prison.
Even if you're a conduit.
It is material. There's what we call in law tortfeasors. I am only surprised that some accounting officers in Parliament, like Paul Konobwa, like the clerk to Parliament, are out. Because Chris Obore did not jump through the ceiling board and rob the money. The money was cleared and they went and picked it from the bank and came out smiling. You see, Simon, the day they arrested this man who is in the International Criminal Court, Koyelo, who is the Lord's Resistance Army, the one who is in the International Criminal Dominic Ongwen. The very day Dominic Ongwen was arrested is the very day Kony started moving far away from Uganda. Because he knew that the peace talks were just a technique to grab him. So to me, the arrest of Obore and all those others is the first step to get towards Anita Mong. Because there is no way you can tell me the 5.2 billion used by Chris Obore was for him to buy perfumes and wear earrings, whatever. So yeah, this is the first step in the right direction.
Why wouldn't they go directly to the big fish? In this case, it is the speaker, the clerk, and the principal accountant.
And that's the politics. Information we have is that President Museveni disagreed with the army commander. General Muhoozi wanted to arrest Anita. So the same diplomatic approach being used by the president to cushion those who steal public funds. That is not the case with General Muhoozi. I have said on another program, and I want to say it here, even here in Machindi here, we have over 30 senior UPDF officers incarcerated because of corruption. So we are seeing a new wave, what I call a passive revolution, where corruption is not being tolerated. The means may be rudimentary, but is not being tolerated. Ugandans are watching. So the IGG should not be shy. The judiciary should not be shy. That parliament needs to be clean. But you should not clean people only when the president has disagreed with that person. There are many other scandals inside that parliament that needs to be investigated by the IGG. For example, since when did parliament start borrowing money from commercial banks? Yesterday we saw they are signing an MOU with Standard Chartered Bank for tarmac in Kidgum-Kidepo Road. I'm very happy it is a road in our area. But since when did Parliament of Uganda start borrowing money from a commercial bank at that percentage? And this is the second time. The last parliament also borrowed money from a commercial bank It has a disadvantage. One, it is killing me. The banks will not offer me Udongato money. It's good business to lend government. Secondly, kickbacks. How can government of Uganda borrow money at 7% from a commercial bank? So that should be investigated. The parliamentary annex is not getting finished. The contract has been extended over 5 times. The new parliamentary buildings, the MPs are squatting on each other. It should be investigated. The contract to install cameras, CCTV cameras in parliament, which started during Rebecca's time, attracting 600 billion. The IGG should tell us why was it taken to classify the expenditure.
Do you want to suggest that the IGG has launched a serious onslaught, or the IGG is feeding into someone's politics?
I think the onslaught has been launched by General Omukozi. The IGG is just trying to be relevant and protecting their jobs. Otherwise, the first people who should have been arrested and incarcerated are the IGG and DPP, because they know these things were happening, but they are just joining now. So the fight on corruption should be holistic. Like Honorable Miru Paul, if you look at the president's letter today, complaining that Busega roundabout, the contract was increased from 600 billion to 1.3 billion. That is the function of leader of opposition. Now, the whole president is now writing a letter like the leader of opposition. What is the opposition saying about this? Supposing the president did not complain. So there is a little mismatch in this fight of corruption. But those who are arrested, we are very happy. They can come and apply for bail. It is their constitutional right. But Ugandans are happy. Whoever is doing it, please thumbs up.
Well, as we take a very short break, what are the chances that this trial could take the course of the usual? People are arraigned before court, and after a few weeks, they are absolved.
Well, you have not amended the standard of proof for the judiciary, especially the technicalities. And therefore, I believe the judiciary will use the same rules they have been using. You, who is alleging, you are required to bring credible evidence that supports your allegation against me. I am not so sure that the procedure today, the Director Legal at Parliament was taking us through compliance with the procedures in Parliament. And he singled out instances where parliamentary committees have investigated abuses in different entities of government, and cited a number of court decisions, as you know, where many reports of Parliament have, all sections, parts of reports of Parliament have been quashed, expunged, because the way you handled investigation. So since we have not amended this, I thought the best way would be, if we think that the existing procedures, personnel that handle criminal matters are inadequate, the best way for the government should have been to come back to Parliament and say, hey, look here, police is not doing a good job. We want CMI, we want ISO to be part of the legal framework that investigates, arrests, pick up documents, and present. Now that we didn't do that, I'm suspicious that the good judges will not agree with Odongoto, the lawyer, the political philosopher, that it doesn't matter. Yeah, if you are playing the politics, that's okay. If we want to do, I've written an article saying, from what Odongoto said, that the president, having come in '86, when Ugandans were really in a dire need of civilized way of doing things, the president has been tough more on security, but on human failings. You can see the president has pardoned over 20 people over the years, over 20 people, high people, who were convicted on corruption. And before they complete their term of sentence, he pardons them. You remember that cow of Chigezi, of Kabari, Togota, or somebody like that? He was caught after he was no longer even a cow. He had now become a returning officer in the Electoral Commission. I think of Mr. Rakabwai. You remember the case of Mulindo Aviru Maso? You remember the most recent case of Chandi Jamwa? You remember the case of Wamafa? So the president, I think, he understood what Uganda had gone through, and he does back and forth. You remember the question of Chogam, Bukenya and others, Professor Bukenya, where he did pronounce himself, said he had got information that Bukenya was being framed. And
most recently, Namuju, who was described as an angel.
You remember the 4 MPs? So, I don't agree with yes, if we want a shock therapy, this is good. Shock therapy, you say, we're pouncing on the speaker, we're pouncing on these ones, the phones will get scared, but for a while. After 2 years, the Njalas will forget that Ofono and his many cars were pardoned, the car carriers and paraded. I had said on this show before that if you want shock therapy, that's good. But of what evidential value in the courts?
Well,
that way. And just before that, Parliament, particularly the office of the Speaker, is called, put their tape, scene of crime. But Parliament hasn't been briefed. This one I'm sitting in now. Don't you find it strange that your house is a scene of crime? Now, members of Parliament who should be the lead, they should have been the lead complainant. As I told you, we can challenge the Auditor General if he has an audit report.
Why now? I mean, these people couldn't have accumulated all these monies insanely in a way that without the attention of the relevant authorities then. Why now?
You see, we have ever had a budget officer, I think Honorable Boto, you remember, he was called Ingolove, who was victimized and was charged for budgeting an item which caused nugatory expenditure. You understand? But because now apparently, I was talking to one of the lawyers, then I was asking that now which money was lost, one of the defense lawyers, that you see we listened to the charge and we're not understanding the charge. Maybe we wait for disclosures because the money was budgeted. The money was received, the money was passed on. So which money was lost? Because we was not understanding what they are choosing his client. You understand?
The is now.
Yes, the board is now. Okay. Because say that we are not understanding, but maybe we are waiting for disclosures because it's not an issue that the money was budgeted. Neither is it an issue that the money was received, that the money was passed on, the money was expended. That's what I told that. You see, what were the guidelines? That when you receive money, what do you use it for? Because by the fact that the whole government, the so-called circular, they advise that this money is available, 28 billion, for giving out the way actually they wanted, and they made it available. Because when they release money to a district, they normally give an advisory. They say we have released 20 billion. This is for wage. This is for water. This is for so and so. But this one they release, it is up to Honorable Fonopondo, the Speaker, to know how actually it's spent. But beside that, you see, Honorable Dong, let me also tell you this. We have had the Auditor General. Parliament has considered the Auditor General's reports, and the government has the audit cycle is supposed to issue Treasury Memorandum on recommendations of Parliament. Government has only issued 32%, 38%, has acted on the recommendation by percentage of 38%, meaning 62% is not acted on. So if the other narrative that now they are fighting corruption, the one you are inviting me to belong to that school of thought, that now they are very serious, it's also not true. Because
Any question?
62% of the treasury memoranda they have take action on issues of corruption. They have all feared, they have kept away because they involve their people. Just like what the issue you are raising. Of course, the president is a consumer of intelligence. He knew that now they diverted the road to increase the cost. Because we kept on also asking, when you drive on that road, we knew the road was not ending. Maybe we thought the money we don't understand what is taking place until you get the actual detail. To me, like to the public wants to know who is in prison and who has been arrested, and how much has been recovered. But three, and most important, there is the biggest problem now of the country. It's not even corruption. It is maladministration. Those who are supposed to be fighting corruption, like the one supposed to act on the treasury memoranda, if you have not acted, and we keep doing on the same thing, what is going to happen? Because there are many organs claiming to be fighting corruption who seem to be covering the truth more than they are revealing it. You understand?
So could they be accomplices in this matter?
You see, there was a story, I don't know whether you see some of the ministers that also, one minister was telling me that when they raided the former speaker's house, there were two raids. The first one, they told the president, these people, whoever went there, they just stayed up themselves like two strangers who had stepped into someone's elevator. They just a question of sharing what was there. They told him that there was no money phone. They said, no, you go back. He sent another team. You understand? Because there's another joint team to engage in this. What we want to see also, as Honorable Fonopondo was saying, are there laws because we have what we call the audit cycle, that when you appropriate money, it must be accounted for. Like Honorable said, there's what we call the retire accountabilities. Once you give money, like first example, you are still like in Parliament, whenever I would receive money, before you go either you ask for money, they would ask you to account. There's an office which retires accountability, and they would call you that Honorable Muiru, we don't see your boarding passes for this period. And if you did not travel or you returned earlier, they will check on the boarding pass, and they will do issue instruction to deduct money from the accounts from your pay. People will receive pay slips when they have deducted. You understand? The same thing now applies to, that's not just about those people who are actually arrested. Like Honorable Fonopondo was saying, when I was a vice chair of Public Accounts Committee, I was still a firebrand, I was a young man. By then they would pay cash to MPs who would go to the field. So they would walk in, sign, you go to take fuel at the Nakasero. Nobody knows what I would do. By the time you are set to go now, you are 30, and then you are now 6. So when I returned, I issued a memo and I recovered the money from whoever had the. Then people said, this is not a school. No, you are misbehaving. Of course, I was wondering, we are an accountability committee. You have received the money, you have taken out of the bus, and we are reaching the field, we are 6 people. How people who signed it? That's what caused actually to remove that issue. Now they pay when you have returned. Before, that was the practice.
Meaning you mean I should fund the parliament for official work?
Yes, yes, you must fund money for official work because you abused it. And now for us, the leaders, you don't have a problem. Or is your friend. He behaves in a very dishonorable way. But if you don't take action on him, it's going now to become the practice. That's why that you realize that the leaders in the committee were not actually loved by members. That's why the spirit of the committee is having money. It's like to be like the carrot and the stick. If I deduct money from you today, next day you become disciplined, I give you a treat.
As I move to the next speaker, would you connect this to the new politics, the new dawn of politics, that perhaps there is a passive revolution happening?
I want to dismiss that school of thought. First, like what we have gathered, I didn't want to delve into the speculative politics, but what we have also gathered, there were a lot of reports that the former speaker had a lot of money. But whether I think she had been tipped by the investigators themselves that they were coming, you understand, that actually, literally, there is no physical cash she recovered. That even while she's even still under house arrest, they want her to surrender the money. In case she does not, she will be charged. Because there is also fear that if you purge her out the way they did, you understand, and she goes to the opposition with that money, maybe she can become a very big problem. You understand?
So they are
There's
closing in on
They're
her.
also trying to close in on her because all those people they have actually charged. They were all their statements, from what I have gathered, they were saying, for us, we received the money. They are accepting and passed on because I'm a vote holder and this is a planned activity. Once we take the money and say we have received the money in this quarter, so for what activity? You go back to the work plan. You understand? And then you issue a requisition for the money as it has been budgeted. Because you see, the question now would be, we would know, for instance, was about the activity officer with the question responsibility. The activity officer was the speaker, according to the way the budget did. They were the speaker, the one who at whose mercy, one who determine whether to give or not to give.
Well, thank you. Honorable Wakida, what is clear is that these were assistants to the speaker. Do you imagine there is more of politics in purging the speaker? You've seen the trail of events, how they've been happening, and it all rotates around the person of Anita Mo.
No, I don't want to think so. I think the problem in Parliament is system. And the construction of local councils and Parliament and how it functions. In fact, this calls for a deeper reflection on how money of Parliament, especially allocated to, say, speakers, should be treated. If you went to a local government, let me take you down to the local government at the district. The speaker is allocated some money for monitoring and activities. But the speaker does not hold any project. So what happens then is that the speaker moves with a person who would have made the requisition. And it's that person who therefore makes the requisition and accounts for it. I am only just wondering whether Obore and the group are being accused of failure to account for the money. Because it looks like they withdrew the money. If the money was withdrawn for a project, have they accounted for that money? If they haven't accounted for that money, then they are liable for a crime they committed of accountability of money advanced to you. I saw even in Parliament there is office for advances.
Advances?
So, yes, advances. So that is where the problem is. Can we trace this money to the speaker's desk? You will find it very difficult, probably, to say, even when it was allocated to her, this is the much she spent. But like I said, are you able therefore to say, wait a minute, we gave you this money to spend on this and this and this? In the absence of that, it becomes very difficult for you to question. It only becomes a moral question that you have a lot of money at your disposal. When we went to Entebbe, it was at the top of the crisis, the arrest and all this of Anita, you remember. I expected the chairman to talk about it. What they did is they printed a document which had been, I think, issued by Ian Clark. You remember that? Print. And they distributed to us. A summary of that was that you do not show wealth, that you are very rich amidst poor people, amidst people who are struggling. They will assume that you stole. That was the article.
But even there, Ian Clark's article, I think, was written with a lot of ignorance, in my view. Because, yes, it was saying, as a leader,
yes,
among poor people struggling, living ostentatiously when they don't know what else you do to earn money except being in a public office.
Yes, absolutely.
But remember, when this thing exploded in 2023, the speaker had 3 functions. I don't know if people remember. First of all, to commission a house, a residence, that magnificent,
She took all the MPs.
where all the MPs went.
Were summoned.
No, I imagine they were invited, and unless some of them come and say they were coerced to leave their homes in Kampala to travel there. But they were invited, and you could see the broad smiles on their faces. True, that was also the time which it coincided with the CDF, I think, was going to Soweto
You also
somewhere.
visited there.
And all of them were made to line up to receive the CDF and shake his hands. You remember? Then came the presidential visit. Then came the commissioning of the stadium, which also coincided with the tournament for the East African School Games, football and other things. And I do recall the president saying, and then it coincided also with the issues of homosexuality law and the sanctions. And then the president himself, maybe, with the hindsight, I think, maybe as an intelligence officer, he was lowering Anita out of the hall. Because the president said, no, these accusations against Anita are not accurate.
My daughter.
I am actually the one who gave her
100 cows.
no, 2 billion.
Yes.
Then the cows. And I remember that time I wrote an article and I said, how does it look for a Speaker of Parliament who every Ugandan knows earns well, earns good money, has other freebies, official freebies, to be given 2 billion. Then the president even added a rider. He said, I even bought her a house. I bought her a second one in Nakasero. I even made a contribution for the one in Chigo. And all of us know that the president has been helping. And then I even said, and then I even said, how do voters feel if you have appointed a vice president, second in the country, and you contribute for her to buy a house? How would the voters feel? So, for me, I agree with Wakida that the problem we have is systemic. Now, you are focusing on the money. Can all these people now, laughing, the members of parliament, particularly,
Yes.
members of parliament, of the current parliament and the one that went. In that parliament, I'm just finding out that virtually half the ministers, or 30% of them, have relatives they brought to be employed without advert, without qualifications.
And outside the structure.
Outside the structure. They bring them, somebody brings, there are those with the wives, official wives. Then there are those with the concubines. Then there are those with the children, their biological children. I'm told there's even a letter existing where somebody gave a list, 47 people to be recruited. So we're now going to this parliament, we are going to demand that from the Right Honorable Both, we must conduct a thorough on all aspects of that parliament.
Thank you.
And I hope
Let me
our
complete.
colleague ministers, particularly of the previous and the previous members of parliament who had influence there are four former members of parliament who participated in elections, lost, and are now staff. Without structure, without advert. I hope they will be courageous to speak the truth when we have those
You want
inquiries.
to name them?
For now, no. I want to use the privilege of the House. The audit will bring them out.
The biggest problem, there are
1,100
Yes.
employees of parliament and there are 500 MPs. So even it is overstaffing. I don't know
Well,
which concern.
Patrick, you may continue. Yes.
The question is, who will clean parliament? can Parliament clean itself? Because I can't.
Unfortunately, the way they made the law, the constitution and the law now, it needs a shock therapy, actually.
Perhaps this operation can help.
One of the challenges of institutions is if institutions do not have checks and balances, they rot. And for us in governance, literature, we advocate there must be levels of checks and balances.
No, but you see, the actual mechanism for checks, but has been compromised. For example, I've just been reading the Administration of Parliament Act, the rules of procedure and so on. Do you know the power they gave the Speaker? Incredible. The Speaker can actually create new offices without reference to anyone. If you have a situation where the Speaker can influence, can determine the people who become commissioners, if you have a reckless Speaker, how can you have a useful commission?
I think,
as you conclude, yes.
I think Parliament needs to clean itself. We must demonstrate that we are ready to be accountable. You need a new commission that will follow up these things.
Yeah, but the evils of Parliament are endemic. They've
They're
been around
endemic,
for ages.
but you know, Parliament can actually
It wasn't there
amend
when
its
Wakakabura
own
was
rules,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Parliament can amend its own rules. As new Parliament, we can accept to be tainted or to amend rules and abide by those rules. And I am hoping that with Ofono Pondo and the Mwirus in that Parliament, we should reflect on how people look at us. A few days ago, I pondered whether I was in the right place. I hate the word corruption. I come from a very poor community. That community, 1 billion changes life. For you to be talking about 190 billion, 200 billion shillings eaten by individuals or misused or not accounted for, it's painful. My children in school, in primary school in my village, sit on the floor. They only need desks. There.
Medicine in health centers.
You belong to NRM.
I am a member of NRM. And I want that transformation to happen.
So
The little money allocated for Ministry of Health, for the education sector, for the roads in these communities, it's just good that we do support.
Thank you. Honorable Dongoto, you gave it to Muhoozi, but it's civil society that started all this. Agora. Where is the opposition that could have perhaps awakened the masses on this gross corruption? Could they be accomplices in the eating?
And the best person probably to answer that is Wakida, because now they want to elect the leader of opposition. The NRM has reached a level where they want to choose who should oppose them. Because some of these issues, if you had a formidable and strong opposition, that would be raising these issues. Not only issues of corruption in Parliament, even issues of human rights. Wakida, you should tell me whether we need to amend the law. Because the current law says you have a problem with me, like what they did today to Obore is very good. You take them to police, to IGG, and then you take them to court, and then remand them to Luzira.
Let me give you
So you should tell us whether we should amend the law that now we say you take people anywhere.
No.
Because for me, I want to be picked, but I want to tell Miro that I am at Central CPS, you come. So these are the things we want you, members of Parliament, to be asking. Who added the basement in our laws?
There are things.
But one
So before getting diverted,
Yes.
this credit of fighting corruption, now fighting corruption has become a risky business. The credit does not, in my opinion, go to President Museveni. The credit in the last 2 months, to me, goes to General Omukozi. All these institutions have failed.
But is the same person implicated in investments?
Yes, human rights zero. Human rights zero.
Let me
Fighting corruption, huge percentage. Roads in Kampala, KCCA, huge percentage. So much as we are saying someone is doing a good thing in this area, it does not mean we clap our hands for people to go and put on pampers in the basement. That one you don't count on me. So the point I'm saying is the institutions have failed.
Yes.
The Auditor General is the watchman of watchmen. Parliament has failed. The Auditor General has failed to clean Parliament. The IGG has failed. The Director of Public Prosecution has failed. Human Rights Commission is saying everything is okay. The judiciary is limping. Parliament is in a symmetry. So now you see a wave of someone just coming, say you have stolen money, you have done this. The Ugandans out there are saying, instead of having people in neckties saying, audit report, query, what? They want to see the thieves going to prison. And I can bet, I don't agree, Simon, with amending.
So you love rudimentariness in this case?
No.
Odongoto.
No, but what I'm saying is, no one is doing anything about anything, but we have seen someone doing something about something.
Odongoto. By doing what? Moses.
By doing what?
How many senior army officers are incarcerated in Makinde now? How many? Over 40. Why? Corruption. Even a mere supplying sand for KCCA, wrong tonnage, different to what is quoted, you go to prison. Where was the IGG? Where was the IGG when Muhoozi was arrested? Where was Parliament? Where was DPP? So it looks like the law does not work. Ugandans are saying it's good.
So Ugandans are settling for lawlessness.
No.
But Honorable Dongoto.
Can I develop my point?
Honorable Dongoto.
Because you people,
accept the interjection. Yes.
you see,
Accept
you
the interjection.
cannot.
Before I accept this,
I think it is better to justify both and say, since institutions are not working, laws are not working, the way we treat the corrupt, the ones who are charging with corruption, the ones who don't speak well, it's also good for them to go to the basement until we sort out ourselves. And for me, I would go with you that way, that let us have the same standard. Let people go to the basement, let the corrupt be also handled outside the basement.
No, you see, we should be like Italians. Italians utilize your strength and minimize your weakness.
I want to answer you.
Why would you find the problem with the ones being taken to the basement in the Pampas?
Because that is violation of human rights. Why would you support any leader who violates rights of people? Why would you support any activity of someone who arrests people without producing them to a police
I
station?
think there is a contradiction.
No, there is no contradiction.
Let me answer him.
Can I just conclude this?
Let me answer you.
Can I just conclude
Allow
this?
my interjection.
Accept another interjection.
Allow my interjection. You see, what defines leaders is that they follow the rules.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. A country without rules is a dead end. I cannot appreciate anything that is done outside of the Constitution. You want to do whatever you want to do. Do it well. And I think all these discussions that Otto is raising, you are in
Parliament there, you are in the NRM caucus. Why don't you condemn Muhoozi from there? You have left it to those of us who are outside.
No, you see.
Why are you quiet there?
You see, everything has got, and I want to make this very clear. Everything has got its time, and it should be brought at the right time. There are things that many of us look and say, let's study it. You are raising contradictions. You are saying this person is good to fight corruption, but this very person is doing this wrong.
Yeah, precisely. That's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you, everything that you see in this country was defined. Laws were set.
Thank you. Another interjection, then I'll give you space.
I understand where my brother, Honorable Dongoto, is coming from. Of late, has been a critique of General Muhoozi over human rights violations. And I think he's on the list. He's on the list You're being looked for. So, you have to make
Actually,
a way. So he has to make a way.
That is
Let me
trivial.
finish.
That's
He's
trivial.
making
Please,
a way of how to
please.
reach home
No.
properly because, for instance, when we talk about the money, Honorable Dongoto, you know that part of this money, it is what has been destabilizing the opposition. Because at one time, one MP was telling me, because I was trying to talk to him, that you see, when you go to the speaker, she pulls something and gives you something. When you go to Chagurani, he just talks, doesn't give you anything, and then you actually go away. So I asked him, but Chagurani has no budget. The speaker is spending from the budget. You are not able Chagurani to give you what? You understand? Because you see, that man had made people to think that you see the speaker was very magnanimous, she was a kind person, and then therefore should give something. That's part of the money. That's why the last thing President Museveni would do is to charge Honorable Anita Among and lamp on that charge. Because part of the money we just she was actually in a way for compromising the opposition.
So these are small fish, right?
So to me, unless I've seen Honorable Anita added on the charge sheet, this will take this fight very
These
seriously.
ones are sacrificial.
Actually, this
make
one,
your point.
for instance,
Make your point.
this one, what money, because what I asked, which money got lost? Because all the money was received and it was passed on. The person who was passed on is there.
Oh, all right.
But the person used the
Honorable
proper-
Dongoto, please
Wait,
develop
you
your
know,
point.
you people,
We won't interrupt you
You are very comfortable in Parliament. I know
You are comfortable there for
a
20 years.
good
It was
paycheck.
comfortable for 20 years.
And of course, a job where you earn 30 million a month is a good job. You have to speak in tongues at times. But the point I'm saying, if we put it on a weighing scale, there is a new development in the current government of fighting corruption. We are seeing.
Which one?
Their development.
Is it cosmetic or real?
Whatever it is, outside there, we want to see more people arrested, even ministers. We want to see both the former speaker and the deputy speaker being charged. Because we are talking as if now it is only the speaker of parliament. Because people are now saying, why is it that those who are arrested today, their names are only Oz? Why?
No, there is a Raja Bukhari.
Yeah, most of them, 90%. So it's okay. So we are saying there is something new in this government that relates to fighting corruption. And we should learn to give credit where it is due. But at the same time...
Someone sent me WhatsApp and said, Odongoto is being very dishonest in praising the Geno. The same Geno
You fear mentioning his name.
is now having Honorable Mawanda very high in the ranks of PNU. So is that a real fight?
You see, you know the problem with Ugandans? They want you to behave like you are an orthodox opposition from birth to death. You don't have to give credit where things are due. For example, you go to Nasa Road. For the first time in the history of this country, you see a road which is cast in concrete. From the beginning to the end. I last saw that road in Ghana when you are leaving, going to Nakasero Dam, done by President Kwame Nkrumah. And this is UPDF Construction Brigade. The improvement in the roads in Kampala we have seen over the last 6 years is more than the improvement in all the roads over the last 20 years.
So
what is wrong with that?
Do you know the cost of a kilometer which they have done there compared to what?
But at least you see the roads. Where I disagree, and this one I disagree, is violation of human rights. You don't arrest me and take me to a basement and brag about it. Actually, for me, if you want to do that, you'd rather kill me. And these days, Mwiru, those days we could leave our phones home and our spouses would call you and say, you have left your phone home, come and pick it. Even when you are 1 kilometer, you'll go back and pick it.
Excitement, the hysteria generated about the arrests of Obore and others feed into the general politics of the day. With speculation
First of all, for your 18 years, you know, I've been matched with you. I've been taken to court twice by now colleagues who have had recent predicaments. First of all, Miriam Matembe, doctor, took me to court because we had the rough altercation here. I floored her. And I had chosen not to speak about it, but let me speak about it because of the 18 years. Elias Lukwago took me to court, also floored him. I want to thank my lawyers.
So your moments have been thorny.
Yes, it is a real front line. So I want to thank my lawyers. And unfortunately, but which is also good, in each of those judgments, the judges said each party should meet their court. So I have had nothing to ask from them. And
But you've mended fences with
yes,
them.
yes, we have. You see, I honestly think that we have bust up in these talk shows, but no hard feelings. They abuse me, you also pinch them somewhere, and that's really. And like these ones, we have been practicing politicians. I think that's how it should be. We shouldn't be taking each other to court over things in the
Bust-ups.
bust-ups in the. You know, we have had with you.
Oh, several.
Yeah, several. But you have never taken me to court. You have never blocked me from your Twitter account.
You even blocked me on
yes,
X, but it's
yes,
okay.
this is okay. So, we have had with the Odongwata. You remember he said, I'm not an MP, I went through the window. I just laughed it off. So. No, but yeah, it is good.
Talking politics now.
Yeah, it is good. That's why I'm saying in NRM, party and government, there is lethargy. I think, particularly now with the 40 years in the government, his age 82, the president came when he was 42, 46, 42 years. You don't expect him to be as vigorous as a younger person. But I think he also has the advantage of, you know, for us who have been with the president much closer, sometimes in meetings he tells you, there was a time when there was no money in Uganda. Now we have had some money. Even if people steal, they will not steal the whole country. Sometimes you'll be flabbergasted, but I think he sees far. Mm-hmm. And you have had him recently, the issue of Betikamia, lifestyle audit. He said if you ever scare people, they'll not stop stealing, but they will steal this money and take it somewhere. Now,
is it a sign of benevolence? Or?
No. I think he's practical. I think the president has been practical, and I think his line has been largely correct. The reason you have seen, even when you are complaining of corruption abuse, you are seeing the country not stagnant.
Now there is a new force called PLU on
yes,
top of things.
So in that context, therefore, that's why I'm saying this shock therapy is good. At some point, that shock therapy needs to be clothed in the legal way to give it a veneer of acceptability. Even these human rights things you people are complaining about, is it normal? With due respect, my older sister, Miriam, at that age of 73, 74, a lawyer of repute, she has been a teacher, she has been a politician, she has led women movement emancipation. Do you think it is right for her at that age to abuse people, to insult people the way she does, even when they are not here? I can insult Odongoto, who we are with here, because he can reply immediately. So I think sometimes some of those actually invite this to themselves. And I think, no, that's my opinion. No. Even the Miriam Matembezi, I think need this shock therapy.
Did she deserve the kind
to say, oh, so I can also be tackled. You remember, I think it was you moderating on this show, and Honorable Luzira has never come back to this show when Matembe is there. When she called Ruth Nankabra on this show, I was with them. A thief, this.
Who called that?
Miriam. Ruth absorbed it until the end of the show and said, I will never come back there. So,
you want to suggest Matembe deserves the kind of treatment she went through?
Honestly, you know, and that's why I'm saying shock therapy.
He's speaking his mind.
This me saying so. That I think, human rights, on the freedom, I think we need. There comes a point when you say shock therapy probably can give us a jolt and say, the things I speak, like as I may say, being taken to court, and you spend time, you're even seeing jail or losing money in the costs, compared to say, maybe I need to tone down. So this shock therapy, both on the way we are tackling the corrupt and the way we are tackling the people who abuse the others, abuse the state, abuse, only this show. You remember even that altercation between Mandi and Lukwago, you are not the moderator. On that show he said, it was the by-election of Soroti East. And he said the president is a thug, is a murderer. That's what he said. Actually, that's what brought issues. Now, you're Lord Mayor of the city, the capital city of Uganda. And in the show, and they're saying the president is a thug. What do you expect me, the spokesman of the president? So I'm not justifying.
You decided to fight.
I'm not justifying.
You're vouching for state brutality,
yeah,
right?
But no, I'm not vouching for, and I've been on record. I am saying, probably, we don't need to do that. I wrote last article, I said, you don't arrest a man, dress him to his and show his nude in public. I said so. To which I think that's why Odongoto is saying, possibly I'm a candidate for the basement. I wouldn't mind if that's what the powers that be want.
If that's the shock therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, you're supporting shock therapy.
Yes.
You need to be checked as well.
No, I'm using.
Imagine at your age taking you to the basement.
I'm using.
to learn.
First of all, I don't think so.
You can even bite your tongue.
I don't think I'm a candidate. I don't think. First of all, I don't think I'm a candidate there. But I am saying, in society, in building society, that's why we say it breaks. You need to break an egg to have an omelette. That's an adage. So, what is important is the leaders, we the leaders. When we make those mistakes, whether deliberate or impunity, we need to reach a certain point and stop and say, when I lie on my back in the middle of the night on my bed, and I reflect on what I have done to others, since I'm the leader, I have ability to change certain things. Tomorrow when I'm dealing with Odongoto, do I deal with him the way I handled Lukwago or not?
Well, thank you.
And we can do that by progressively improving on the law, improving on the method of work, improving on the investigation. Because why are all these things? I think sometimes comes out of frustration, cumulative frustration. Take a case of an intelligence officer. Take a case of a police officer who sees you, has arrested you with the panga, you have broken somebody's window. And then the following day, because of the human way of handling evidence, a judge, a magistrate says, no, you are innocent. Look at the mob justice. Of course, we who are in public authority ought not to get frustrated.
Oh, okay.
With the limitations of
are
the
you
law.
watching how PLE is now taking charge of things?
I wrote an article about two weeks ago, and I said that is the natural phenomenon of social change. NRM itself, where did it come from? NRM displaced UPM. At some point, it took. You remember when we were forming this new NRM now? Honorable Bidandi said the Secretary General of NRM of UPM tried to insist in our conference that we should name the new organization UPM. And because we are the younger people, we are the majority, we said, no. Tafadhali, let's us name our organization National Resistance
So the
Movement.
curtains are falling on NRM. You agree?
If the liturgy in NRM as is continues, because, and what's the liturgy? Politically, you cannot hold your elections 5 times out, 6 times, and the same issues keep cropping. People get disappointed. Stealing your own internal election, having violence, this. You have the majority in parliament. Right now we have 71.2. But we behave as if we're the minority. So what do you expect the younger people who actually like NRM, but they are frustrated that they are not given sufficient room within NRM? So it is up to the NRM, up to we, the all groups in the NRM, to make sure that we change our ways. If we don't change, change will change us.
Thank you. General politics. Today we're seeing corruption taking center stage, the clamp down on corruption, and it is being spearheaded by PLU.
Well,
Do you give it to them?
I want to say that in statecraft, they are what we call state keepers. That's why you realize that when they are government, they are always the ideologues who would say, no, they don't do this thing. And they would always be there to act like a barrier. What we see today in terms of human rights violation, I want to depart from the school of thought of my brother of the shock therapy. Some of these guys, some of these old people have their ailments. There's what we call causation in law. That someone may have any other ailment, and as a result of the teaching someone in the basement, may die in your hands. You know Manenero? The late Manenero? And Fefe? That blood stain is still in people's hands. But it's General Muntu who kept on saying that when he was in the uniform, he treated people fairly, so that when he's out of uniform, the people treat him the same way. What is happening today?
We shall have time to debate.
Yes, he kept on saying that is what I'm saying. And what we are seeing today is like our colleagues have the power. They can put aside the law, treat people the way they want to treat. And if you go back to the preamble of our constitution, it talks about our history as a country and where we have come from. I would implore our colleagues that let us stick to the rules. Let us stick to the law. Because you see, these things change. The Pond of 2001 is not the Pond of today. Like I can find solace in confiding in him. Because now I know in Parliament, ever since he came to Parliament, is one person who means what he says. But one would say, would you confide in the Pond of 2001?
Yes.
Well, Honorable Dogoto, as we get out of here, how does the current conversation fit into the general politics?
I think some of the viewers may not understand what Ufondopono means, shock therapy. I think it is this thing where they bring some people in hospital and they're so sick, then they put those things which look like a flat iron to try to pump life. So Ufondopono is justifying that the PLU action of shock therapy.
PLU, first of all, PLU is not in charge of the state.
Okay. Whoever that shock therapy.
No. Actually,
they are calling the shots.
Any mistakes in the country, in the government, please, you have a group you elected. You have the leader of that group, Yoweri Museveni. Any shortfalls, hold him.
Yeah, the point I'm saying
don't hold PLU.
President Museveni has said...
but this is a new outfit.
Yeah.
No, but they're not
Can
the
I
government.
just develop this point? President Museveni has set the bar so high. If you go to the border of Kenya, Kenyans drink in Uganda and walk back to sleep in Kenya. If you're in Uganda, you talk, but the moment you cross Kenya, you should go straight to your bed. The same in the border of Rwanda. So President Museveni has set the bar so high that arrest Dogoto, take him to police, charge him, produce him in court. That bar, you remember in primary school, those who participate in high jump, if you don't prepare well, you'll come and go under the bar. You'll see it is so high that you cannot go over it. And that's the mistake PLU is making. You pick Ufondopono, you take him to the basement, you brag with this picture. This is someone's father. You are not following the law. Can you imagine Maria Matembe had to climb a tree to get into the fence of a neighbor? Someone of 72 years climbing a tree. Now, no one, whether shock therapy, whether what, no one should accept the issue of violation of human rights. President Museveni appoints the judges. President Museveni appoints the DPP, the prosecutor. So, arrest Mwiru Paul, take him to your most favorable judge, keep me at police. At police, the law says my relatives should visit me. Even the Bible says, at free time, visit prisoners. Mistake is for human beings, Simon. It's not for animals. So this philosophy of shock therapy If I were an advisor to PLU, I would tell them concentrate on corruption and roads. Abandon, close the chapter of human rights. Can you imagine? Now, Kabanda is saying, Kabanda now, not even DPP, not even Muhoozi. Kabanda is now saying, I should be arrested for talking in the other talk show. So is
For crying.
Yes. Is it his tears? Does he even have tears anyway? So, what I'm saying is we should support human rights. If PLU does not raise the bar of human rights to the level President Museveni has set, they will not get state power. Just mark my word.
Frontline returns next week, Thursday. We are celebrating